Hi, thank you for joining. We are going to do a little Q&A. I was just going to look up and see if we have any questions from the community because we want to answer those first if we do. And then as we have time, we're going to talk a little bit about red light therapy because we've had lots of questions on that recently. I always have I just turned off my red light on. And I'm new to red light therapy and I love it. So we'll talk a little bit about that, answer some questions that you guys have had. Let me first pull up our Q&A real quick. Okay.
Are you making bread, Casey?
I know that looks.
Oh, sorry. I'm making sourdough. My starter is very ripe, so it couldn't wait.
I wish you were my neighbor.
Oh, I would love to send it to everybody.
There's nothing I love more than sourdough.
I like giving mine away too.
Oh,
I eat it. I make 2 loaves. Eat you one, I give one away.
Yes.
The best.
I love that. Okay, so let's see. We're gonna kind of talk through a couple of these, and then coaches, if you guys want to pull up in the Zoom calls folder the questions too, if you guys want to look through those maybe while we're talking on one, and we can just take turns answering these, that would be awesome. So, okay, we'll go through. I think we should do there's a lot of questions on hormones. I think maybe we just save that for a future call and we can talk through more specifically hormone related things. But let's see. Okay. This person had just had breast explant surgery. This isn't a question we've covered, is it? I don't think so. I think it's brand new. Okay. So let me just make sure because it's a long one and I don't see all of it here. Let me click on it. Okay. So I just had breast explant surgery yesterday, already counting down the days till I can work out again. When it is time and I'm cleared to do so, what is the best way to ease back into it? It will probably be the 3 to 4 week mark that I can start with weights again. So, I mean, I have not had breast implant or explant surgery, but I have had a pretty extensive abdominal surgery that definitely needed to ease back into things. And just with all of my other clients, I've had different surgeries. Definitely start with walking. Walking is the first thing to start with, and that should feel good, pretty soon in the next couple of weeks. Start with walking. And then from there, I like to start with just body weight only and do things very slowly. So an example could be, just normal everyday movements, even put your bench out and just sit and stand, like doing squats, but you're squatting to the bench. Do that nice and slowly, see how that feels. From there, you could do just some gentle, step back lunges, maybe even holding on to something for support. Once you have kind of tested out some different body weight movements, then I would move to isolated movements more so. Obviously, knowing, chest is going to be impacted, I would keep it really light and probably not incorporate any chest movements, save those for last, and start with something if you have access to machines, that's going to be really helpful because you can isolate leg extensions or hamstring curls. But if you don't, then I would just stick with body weight for probably 2 weeks and just start incorporating, look at our Hungry Fitness programming. And depending on what the movement is, think through okay, how would I do that without weight? So if it's a back squat, just doing body weight squats, doing them slow, using your breath, connecting to your core. And then assessing, this is all going to be mind muscle connection as you're moving back into things. How does my chest feel? And if anything, if it feels great, then keep going. If it feels weird, or you feel like something's pulling, or it just feels not painful, but almost a little uncomfortable, then that's probably a good sign to not do that movement and retry that movement the following week. And then obviously if something is painful, definitely do not do that. That's we don't want to cause any pain in the healing process. And I think the biggest thing to remember is you're going to heal more quickly than you think. So just getting in movement that feels good. Like if it's 4 weeks before you can start lifting again, or 6 weeks before you can start lifting again, then that's okay. Take this time to heal and give your body the nutrients it needs and get movement in that is restorative and feels good to you, and know that you'll be back to lifting heavy before you know it too.
I think the hardest part of this, and with a lot of energies, is the mental aspect, right? Worrying about loss of progress, which is a different topic, but the mental aspect of being okay with taking a step back, reminding yourself, if it's something like explant surgery, like why you got it in the first place, knowing that it's temporary,
Yes.
and that you have lots of time in front of you to rebuild and feel great and push those workouts hard, and that this is just a phase. And right now, this is not the time to
Worry
try and
about your
push
lack of gains.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Now's the time to support your body in healing. And also I think remembering, like, just because you feel terrible this week doesn't mean you're going to feel terrible next week. Like with surgery recovery, it's much faster than you anticipate. Like how you're feeling in the moment can change very quickly. And I think that's it. For me, especially like when I got my abdominal repair, I couldn't walk upright for 6 weeks, but by 4 months, I was able to bring muscle ups and like everything that I wanted, And so it's like, I was walking hunched over at a month and a half. And by, another month and a half later, I was like lifting heavy and doing everything. So it's like, just know how you feel right now. Don't let it get you discouraged. Just use that as an opportunity to listen. Like now's a really great opportunity to listen to your body and to just trust that healing is important, and you'll be back doing all the things more quickly than you think. So, but yeah, taking it one step at a time, like test out the body weight movements, test out the isolated movements, then start adding in, more functional, like compound lifts from there. Just one thing at a time. And then always ask us on the app too, if you aren't sure with a specific thing, like if it's, if you need a substitute.
Mm-hmm. I was just thinking, really learning what recovery is. That's a good opportunity to really do that if you don't know what your body needs to recover as quick as possible. So really, take that opportunity to learn that and do that so that you are doing yourself a favor for getting back into what you actually want to do as quick as possible. Because if you're not recovering, stressing a lot about getting back, then in the end, that could actually lead to it taking longer for you to get back to what you want to do, instead of really embracing the importance of recovery and what your body needs, like just fueling your body with nurture in all the ways, after something like that.
Yeah. And knowing that surgery is going to cause inflammation in your body. And so things that can help with that is going to help you feel better sooner too. We were just talking about that too. I was just reading research on, so we'll talk a little bit more on like red light therapy, but on melatonin production and that helping a lot with inflammation. So just getting outside for your walks even is going to be a great way to get that sunlight exposure and help your body heal too. And then one other person says, what are some easy breakfast options prior to training? I train fairly early every morning and I've never been a huge breakfast person, as I often feel sluggish, bloated, or like I'll throw up when I'm training. So typically I'll do a protein shake and a piece of fruit, but I would love some other suggestions that will fuel my session. Thank you. I feel like Autumn, you train really early. Do you eat before you train when you are going early?
So typically I don't. However, there are some times that my sessions, like I found myself when I kind of shifted how I trained, I found myself getting kind of lightheaded and almost sick during the lifting sessions. So I just started something as simple as adding a teaspoon of honey to my coffee. That's going to give me a little bit of glucose before I go in and train. Or something as simple as just a rice cake or half a banana, just to give that simple sugars and just to really, it doesn't even like it doesn't even make me full. It's nothing like a meal. It's just something that can fuel me after my fasted state through the night, fuel me.
A little bit of glycogen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And getting
just
your
something
protein
as simple
after.
as adding, or I have some people who like to add protein to their coffee. If that's something that you like to do, you could do that too. But
I actually asked the question. It's hi. It was so funny. And I guess I should have put in there like by early. So I'm up at 5 every day and I get my coffee. I come into my office. I start doing my work. And then I'm in I have a garage gym. But right now it's loaded with Christmas boxes. So I'm going to a gym. And so I'm there between 8 and 8:30. And so I'm not like up and go, but I've tried to eat light food, even like sprouted bread with, some avocado, or I've done like some granola with just a little bit of fresh fruit. I'll go to the gym and I literally feel like at some point I'm going to throw up.
So I would say, Krista, with those two meals that you just said, both have pretty high fat content in them. And that's going to slow down your digestion, which is going to that can definitely like make you not feel as good. So when you're choosing your foods, like the toast is great, maybe just doing that with like jam on top or honey.
Okay. Yeah.
So just sticking to carbs and keeping fats really minimal is going to help you help you feel better.
And then should I pair it with a protein shake? Like, could I have this? Because the protein shake, honestly, I've never felt sick from having those. But like Autumn had said, then if I don't have anything and then, and I'm training and I train hard, and then I start to feel that like I'm getting lightheaded or, the shaky. So I know I need something. It's just figuring out that like perfect little combination that will work with me to get me through.
Yeah, 8:30 is late enough that I think definitely having food you're going to want food, but I think protein's fine, especially if it's like easily digestible, like a protein powder. If you're doing that with other foods, like you're blending it up and it's not just like protein mixed up with water, then having like maybe a little bit of a banana in there, some water or non-fat milk could be great, or like PB2, could be good options to add to that. But just keeping if you're feeling sick, I would try cutting down on fat before your workout and see how your body feels.
Yeah. Okay.
And also, Krista, there's nothing wrong with bringing a banana with you to the gym.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, true.
I know other people do. If you know that about halfway through, you start to get that feeling.
Yeah.
Maybe a quarter of the way through, you have half a banana. That's it, right? Not going to sit heavy in the stomach. Going to provide really fast digesting carbs and hopefully kind of keep you away from that like lightheaded, low blood.
Yeah. And my body's not like thinking rest and digest. It's thinking like we can still go and I have the energy to facilitate the rest of the workout.
Yeah. And if you train hard and you're training longer in duration, like I'm not against having an intra workout. Like the banana is food, but sometimes you don't feel like eating too. So I have had just intra workout carbs. You just mix them with water. You can
just get some.
Yeah, that's a great.
So I just got some from First Form.
Do like basically what you would do is I would probably stick to like 10 grams of protein, 30 grams of carbs, like that ratio, like the 1-to-3 ratio for protein and carbs, and start with that and mix that in with your water and just sip on that like through your warm up and into the beginning of your workout. And that will help a lot. And your tummy should be fine with that.
Yeah.
If you're just like, I don't feel like eating this morning, then that's a great option too.
Yeah. And forcing myself that's never good.
Yeah. And intra-workout carbs are like more expensive. So like, you don't have to have that every day. Like if you have some food before and you feel like you don't necessarily need them, but you could just put them in your gym bag in case you're feeling like a little low energy and add that in too.
That's awesome. Michaela, I don't know if you remember, but I was with Brute Strength when you were the coach.
Oh, that's crazy. I mean,
yeah. And then I left because you weren't coaching anymore. And then I had been doing competitive CrossFit up until very recently. It's hard. Like even local competition is very hard. And I wanted to qualify for the games, So I left the other coach that I was with, and I've been searching for a program. And I remember you had this. And so I've been doing like kind of random stuff. And this is only my third day with Hungry Fitness, but I love it. And I love that there's still Olympic lifting. Like there's snatches today. And I'm glad because I still want to do that stuff, but I'm not doing it at that high level. I need to, it gets to be a lot. So yes, I'm
welcome
back with you, girl.
I'm so excited to have you. Remind me of your last name.
Kruzan, Krista Kruzan.
Yes.
Yes.
I do. Yes. Oh, that makes me so happy. Well, welcome. Keep us updated. I feel like people that switch from more CrossFit style, especially competition, to more of like a traditional-ish bodybuilding template have. It's like, it takes a couple of weeks, I feel like, mentally to adjust because you're not getting that same like all out intensity. After you feel that huge, just a huge difference of like right after your workout of really exhaustion where you're like, yes, I accomplished so much today. I feel like it takes a couple weeks to get used to training and after feeling like, okay, I pushed my muscles, but like, I feel pretty good. Did I get much out of that? And you start to see that shift in your physique and then also see like inflammation is down. You're feeling really good. And
yes. The inflammation is a huge thing, even though, doing mobility, even, having body work done and stuff, it's hard. The compounding every day is hard. So, and I love like weightlifting, bodybuilding. That's my background. So it's exciting to get back into it and just lift super heavy.
Yes. Well, we're excited to have you.
Yay.
Okay. Next, let's see. What's another question? Did you guys see any that I should?
I saw one. It was when trying to grow muscle, is it better to use lighter weights with perfect form or heavier weights and your form struggles on the last few reps?
That's a good question. I feel like this is one where I would want to see, what you looked like when you're lifting, because there's a difference with, let's use the back squat, for example, right? There's a difference with coming down in the bottom of the squat. And let's say you're on your 9th and 10th rep and maybe knees are caving in a little bit on like that 9th and 10th rep, but you're still getting the weight up. Like I would feel okay about that. But if it's more like a full like collapse of the back and the core, then I guess it comes, this is what I think. And I think, we have a lot of amazing coaches on our team, so you guys pitch in, but I would say form struggling, it's going to happen when we're at like above 90%. But if your form is off so much that you're going to risk an injury, then that's too much. And usually that would look like to me, so let's say it's 10 reps, that would probably look like form is kind of going a little bit around rep 6, 7, 8, and like it's just not there at all in reps 9 and 10, and you're going to injure yourself. That's where it would be not okay. But if you are doing a heavy set of 10 and we want you to push that RPE to 9.5, your 10th rep is not going to be perfect form. Like it just likely won't be perfect. And if it is, you're probably more like at an 8 RPE. What would you guys say on there? And like things to look for and notice?
That's a tough one because
I would want to like see the person moving, because we all have different ideas of what is struggling.
And it's hard for clients to know, because it's like you're not watching yourself from all angles while you're doing a back squat, right?
And you might not know what it feels like to have.
I tend to be on the more conservative side of things, because to me, like anything is worth avoiding an injury. But you want to make sure, like, again, like if you're on a hypertrophy program looking to gain muscle, like you've got to get to that RPE and that intensity.
And I think sometimes people can be too conservative and like overthink it, and then you're not going to build muscle. I think it depends on the lift too. So we need to be a lot more careful on compound lifts where we're using our core. So if it's like a bicep curl, then and you have to use a little momentum those last few reps to like get the weight up. Yeah, that's fine. Like obviously the more strict you can be and just isolate that bicep and lift that's going to be more beneficial. Like you're not recruiting other muscles to curl that weight up, but maybe you need some momentum those last few reps. And that's a good indication of like, okay, that was a 10 RPE. I probably should repeat that weight again next week and try to do it with better form. And, but that's okay. Like I'm not going to increase my weight next week. I need to like dial it back a little bit or stay the same.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, just look at it at a longer picture with a longer time frame, that you work up to where your form isn't perfect anymore. It's gonna happen, because otherwise it wouldn't be, growth. But then you're aware of, okay, my form is not the best. Or maybe I'll stop here, work here, and make sure that my form is good here, meaning now I'm stronger, now I have good form, so now I can push that weight and go further, instead of just pushing through bad form and then continue, putting on weight with already bad form. Like, so it will always look like you work your way up there, then you stay here, maybe take a small step back, and then you're good here, then you continue work, take a little step back or work here, and then, to just look at it in a bit longer time frame like that.
Yeah. And I think form struggles is so general. So it's like hard to know what you mean. Like, are you deadlifting and now your back's
squat,
your back's going from flat to like rounded? Then I'd be like, oh, well, let's stop right there and let's lighten that load. You could always slow it down. Let's keep your form through that. So I think it depends on the lift. It depends on like what you mean by form struggles, like, and the person asked the last few reps. So I would say definitely not the last few reps, but maybe the last 1 to 2 reps, and the variance of like form struggles. Like I would say if it's like a 10%, 15% of like form kind of going a little bit, then that's okay. But I think once you get past that 15%, it's like you're risking injury. So, I mean, I'm just thinking of Olympic weightlifting. My snatch back when I did Olympic weightlifting regularly, my snatch at like 55 pounds, I could nail that and hit that perfectly every time in the exact same way. But as I'm going up to like 180 pounds, like I'm compensating to hit that max lift. Does it happen? Would we prefer I had perfect form? Yes. And so that's where I need to work harder at the lower weights and like really nail in that form. The time to really perfect your form, I think, is as you're warming up too, as you're doing those lighter weights, and slow things down, really connect. Like videoing yourself is going to be so helpful. Seeing what you look like as you are feeling it, actually reviewing the video and seeing what it looks like. So, like, okay, that felt good. And also when I review the video, it looked really good. Or if not, maybe it felt good and you review the video and you're seeing a lot of things going wrong, then that would be an opportunity to lighten the load and practice again. And always send us your videos. You guys can always send us your form videos if you're not sure. We would love to review those, because even if you're an experienced lifter, there's likely some things that could be improved upon. And having a second set of eyes helps.
Yeah, you're going to be able to lift more if you have good form, like most likely as well.
Usually if my form starts to suffer a little bit, that's for me like an indication of I'm not ready for an increase. I need to either maybe bring it down a little bit or like try that again next week and see how it feels. Mm-hmm. Anything you would say, Autumn, just having coached for years and years?
Yeah, I mean, I guess like you guys said, it depends on the lift, but the first thing that comes into my mind is range of motion. So if it's like limiting your range of motion with that specific lift, I mean, you're not getting, just for example, the squat. If your range of motion is limited in the squat, you're not getting full benefit from the squat. So you could go as heavy as you wanted to, but your strength's going to be deteriorated at some point. So in my mind, I think form, because at some point you've got to correct the imperfection so you can get the full range of motion from the lift. So I guess it just depends. I don't know. There's a lot that's running through my mind with that, but
range of motion, I think, is definitely number one on like, don't cut corners there.
Right.
Check your range of motion, then add weight, then check. There's so many little things with form, like, there's some pieces of form that are going to really be cause for injury that we don't want to risk. And there's some that's like, you could get more out of that lift if you were tweaking this or that.
Right.
And that
But-
might not
but then
happen above
sometimes it's-
85%.
But then sometimes that's what you got for that. And that's what we're going to work with. So I don't know. It just kind of depends, but yeah.
Yeah. I think kind of the
Love
main thing is send us your videos.
Yeah, because I think
Um,
that also if you don't have the range of motion, like if you're not getting there, then you're compensating probably like using muscles that is not beneficial. And that is also a reason to, could be more potential to get injured because you're not using the muscles that you should be using. Maybe you're using smaller muscles than the big, in
Yeah. And we are working to shape our physiques, right? So that mind muscle connection is very important. And so the weight is a good indication of like progressive overload, like we're lifting more, but also improved form is a good indication of progressive overload. More time under tension is a good indication of progressive overload. So that might mean lowering the weight and just slowing down the lift so that you feel really solid in all of the different positions too. And that's going to benefit you. So always.
I'm thinking like also like feeling like where are you sore? Like if you are sore, where are you sore? Like does that make sense for that lift?
Yeah.
Just keep a little eye on that. Wouldn't that be a good thing perhaps as well?
Yeah, kind of dependent. I would say more so in the moment, paying attention. Like, okay, if I'm doing rear delt flies, like, am I feeling that in my rear delts? Are those contracting? Am I going slow enough to feel the muscle that I'm working actually working? And if you aren't, then slow it down and lighten the load so that you can feel that too. Because it's not always about like, I PR'd my bicep curls. It's like, okay, were you feeling those muscles being activated? And that's going to benefit you on a hypertrophy standpoint. I think let's see, I think that might've been it on questions. Oh, and we're at 10:30. Okay. So that went by really fast today. Let me see if we just have one more question because we were going to talk about light exposure. So maybe we'll save that and do a full call on that next week. I would say if you guys have questions for us, ask them on this Google Doc on sunlight, red light therapy, blue light blocking glasses, anything in relation to kind of those things. Mitochondria function, circadian rhythms, optimizing like melatonin production, then let us know what questions you have. Let us know if you have questions on just the research or anything beyond that, or also on application. Like if you want to implement something new in relation to this, like, and you're struggling, like let us know. We can help kind of strategize that on the next call. So we'd love to see you guys. And then we also, actually, let me double check on that because we might, with the holidays, Lindy might be doing next week's call. So let me double check with her because we'll be taking off the 28th. So plan for next week call. It'll either be Lindy or we'll be talking about that. So I'll let everyone know and we'll go from there, and we'll be taking off between Christmas and the New Year. And we hope all of you are as well. And hopefully you can get some good just time to yourself or time with loved ones or time just doing things that you love and enjoy. So thank you for joining, and we'll talk to all of you soon. Hope you have a great week.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.